Where are you guys at with the NHL in Salt Lake City? And I need help on this, no matter where you are hearing this show. Where are you guys at on this? Because if you don't know, Ryan Smith is the young, supposedly hip owner of the Utah Jazz. And right now, Ryan Smith, who gets a free pass from the media in Utah, is put up as this great owner who's doing all kinds of dynamic things and transforming the Utah Jazz. To which I say perception is certainly not reality, because Ryan Smith, as the owner of the Utah Jazz, has done nothing more than trade his best players for players who make significantly less. He has paid down his debt and has not built a contender. This team is painfully reminiscent of the Gail Miller years under Ryan Smith. But Ryan Smith has talked about moving the Jazz out of Salt Lake City. Ryan Smith has bought a minority stake in Real Salt Lake. Ryan Smith has talked about bringing a baseball team to Salt Lake City. Ryan Smith now has petitioned the NHL, for a professional hockey expansion team in Salt Lake City. All the while, Ryan Smith has done almost nothing to make the Utah Jazz a championship contender. And my question is, why would Salt Lake City thrive as an NHL market? Because honestly, I don't believe that it would under any circumstance. There are two really high caliber hockey clubs within driving distance of Salt Lake City, in Las Vegas and in Denver, Colorado, with the Avalanche and the Golden Knights. Both of them are recent Stanley Cup champions. Why would you want to put an NHL expansion team in Salt Lake City? It doesn't make sense from a financial perspective. It doesn't make sense in your own building. It doesn't make sense from a fan perspective, which is another thing that Ryan Smith said is the sports fans in Salt Lake City are hungry for a hockey team. That's just not the case. I live here. We are the largest sports talk show in the state of Utah, and nobody is thirsty for NHL hockey. I don't believe it would work. Jake, is Salt Lake City an NHL market?
Yeah, I don't think we can say Salt Lake is an NHL market. I think the other big part of this conversation is the Olympics. Ryan has been somebody who's pushing the Olympics thing and the idea and getting the bid through and getting the Olympics here, quite aggressively and getting a new, because remember, as part of this expansion team, there would be a new building built for this club. You would not share the Delta Center between a hockey team and an NBA team the way a lot of other, like you look in LA, they do that. Like there's a lot of markets where they do that. The Delta Center, though, the issue is it was built for basketball. The optics in the Delta Center for NHL would be bad, and it cuts down on the total attendance the building can take because of the dimensions of the rinks. So you're talking about bringing an NHL team here, putting it at the point of the mountain where the old jail used to be, creating an entertainment district around that. And while all of that sounds great, right? New car smell. We all love it. We all want to spend our money. More Lululemon stores where, Ryan Smith can buy his leggings to golf in. We get it. We get it. But what we don't get is championships at the Delta Center. What we don't get is championships with RSL. What we don't get is winning in this state. And it bothers me to no end that this guy, Ryan Smith, right? He makes all this money, sells you on a story about how he's a local kid who grew up in Utah, knows everybody, knows the pulse of the state. If you know the pulse of the state, then why did the jersey rollout go the way it did? If you know the pulse of the state, why did you trade Donovan Mitchell when you did? If you knew that you had a good chance of getting the All-Star game in, why trade Donovan Mitchell? If you knew that when you get the All-Star game in, you're going to incur a lot of debt, you're going to have to make that money back, pay the debt off, you need to keep the building full, why'd you trade your best talent? Why? Because you have not backstocked that talent. And don't tell me, oh, well, they can't go out and get top stars. Okay, you can't go out and get top stars. That doesn't mean you can't be a top 5 seed in the West. You tell me Oklahoma City's got a better ability to get stars than Salt Lake does? You tell me that Orlando, let's say, or any small market team, San Antonio, has a better ability to get stars in Salt Lake. So don't tell me that you know what this state wants. This state has a hockey team in West Valley City that not a lot of people know about. And, hey, whatever. Maybe that's them. Maybe that's people. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, to say that this state is thirsty and just needs an NHL team is totally off basis and not true in any form or fashion. Like, it's just not.
Yeah, and I think here's my biggest issue with Ryan Smith. He talks a lot. He is hip, cool guy, and he just hasn't backed it up. His teams have not won. He is not successful in any way, shape, or form, or more successful than the Miller family. And I think the All-Star game, the interesting part about the All-Star game was he took on significant expense to renovate the arena to make it All-Star caliber. And I think Delta Center, the upgrade was really good. But you sold your best players and you did not replace them. Let me say that again. You sold your best players in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and I think we were all on board with it. And you did not replace them. And you had this run last year that piqued everybody's interest. And you did absolutely nothing at the trade deadline. And you've done absolutely nothing this offseason. You went and got John Collins, which has not been a transformative move. In fact, there's a lot of people, I talk to NBA people every day, who believe that Walker Kessler is not being fully served well by coming off of your bench. And yet all you do, and I appreciate that Ryan Smith is a guy that supports his own club. Why? What's he going to say? But when it comes to the NHL, there is not some groundswell of support in Salt Lake City for the NHL. And it's cool that you can have Sean White talking about how great the NHL would be for winter sports in Salt Lake City. I have no doubt about that. But the Olympics are without a doubt a cash grab. The NHL coming to Salt Lake City is without a doubt a cash grab for Ryan Smith. That's what it is. RSL is not better for having Ryan Smith as the owner. You're out in the first round. You're, what were they, fifth or whatever in the West last year. You everything that Ryan Smith touches, people, the church, KSL, Deseret News, Salt Lake Tribune would tell you everything Ryan Smith touches turns to gold. I have not seen a lot of gold. I do not see NBA championship banners going up.
And what bothers me too is not only is Ryan pushing this message, but then he wants to go on the Pat McAfee show in a time. And I don't have in premise or an idea, an issue with the Pat McAfee show and Ryan Smith, but you're going on that show in a time when that show is taking major heat and the image of that show has changed a little bit. So you're just buddy with everyone. You're rocking the snapback. You're a visor guy when you golf. Like you want to golf with Rob Manfred. You want to do all this cool things. You want to be seen with the front runners. I want results, dude. I want you to build a team around Lauri Markkanen.
Your underwhelming TV deal.
Right. Dude.
I look at the underwhelming uniform rollout. I look at all of this stuff is because Ryan Smith is afforded a very comfortable existence in Utah. Nobody questions him. Nobody holds him accountable. And listen, I get it. You essentially own the sports talk market here. You're obviously Ryan Smith is a member of the LDS Church, and he is very tight with the people at KSL, which is a church business. Very obviously, he has his thumb on the Deseret News, which is a church business. The Salt Lake Tribune does not do journalism. You're just in a position where you're trying to sell a bill of goods, and you go on the largest sports talk shows in the country to say that, man, the fans in Salt Lake City are absolutely champing at the bit for an NHL team, and they are not. They're not. They're not. They, in no way, shape, or form is there. And I ask for the numbers. The Jazz don't reply to emails. Hey, can you show me the research you've done that says an NHL team would thrive in Salt Lake City? To back up the rhetoric that Ryan Smith is so freely able to run out to the media because nobody will question him on it. What is it that you were hanging out talking to bros walking out of the arena after Jazz games. They're like, oh, yeah, Ryan, we've got to have NHL here. Where's the research? Where's the market data? But the Jazz don't respond to emails. They don't give you the information you ask for because I think it's a bunch of bullshit. That's what I think. I think Ryan Smith wants to expand his empire. And he wants a new arena for the Jazz. He just doesn't want to pay for it. And I think he knows that if he brings the NHL here, he'll get Olympic money from the Olympic organizing committee to help him build that arena. I think he knows that he will be able to attract more investors with that. Like, this is not a foolish or stupid person. Ryan Smith is a wonderfully talented businessman, which is why he is not dumping money into the Jazz, which is why he has reduced his payroll, which is why he doesn't want to get rid of Jordan Clarkson because he's worried about the fan backlash, which is why he is still here, which is why Kelly Olynyk is still here, which is why the Jazz are likely to miss the playoffs this year. And season ticket prices will go up.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody will question the putrid job the Jazz do with video. Their terrible TV deal, Jazz Plus, which does not work on a regular basis. You're like, there's just all this stuff that Ryan Smith doesn't have because he's not detail oriented, like research to back up the idea that the Salt Lake Valley is champing at the bit to get an NHL team.
Come on, dude.
It's not. It is not. And I will never buy into the idea that they are.
Yeah. And I think if the argument was as simple as, hey, Salt Lake City is the winter capital of the United States, and that's why the NHL should have a presence here. Okay, I'm down with that. Like, if we were just saying, hey, dude, this would be a good market for the NHL because it's a really good winter market. The Olympics have been here before and are likely coming back. It would make sense. Like, if that was your argument, I'm good with that, dude. I'm cool. I get it. But don't try to sell me on this nonsense that people are thirsty for it. I like the NHL, but with all due respect, there's a reason that we don't talk about Connor McDavid dominating dudes every single night on this show. It's not a big enough thing. And really I'm just kind of over it. And I saw we were talking about this. I was literally just doing some digging on trying to find some numbers, some sales numbers on the yellow jersey they rolled out. Yeah, turns out the Jazz released their schedule for the second half of the year in terms of what jerseys they're going to wear on what nights. They're not wearing the yellow jersey a single game in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
0 times.
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
So don't tell me that you have a pulse or a grip on what this fan base wants. That's
or you
would
have had
me.
Or you'd have had the purple uniforms on time and well designed.
It bothers me so much, dude.
Yeah. All right, let's get your thoughts. Let's see. Big Blue Horses for $2. NHL and MLB in Salt Lake City. Jazz trades, yes or no? What say you? I've heard consistently on the Jazz that, like, they have a Jordan Clarkson deal they could make. I think the Knicks would love to add Jordan Clarkson. I think that the Lakers and the Jazz have had extensive conversations on Colin Sexton. And I think that deal eventually gets done. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But I don't, my feeling is that the Jazz will make trades. I don't believe that Ryan Smith will add payroll to this team. I don't think he's willing to do it. I think you look at why this team is so stagnant. They have multiple contracts. Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton are great examples that cost them almost nothing.
That are fan favorites that make them money.
That are $18 million a year. Like I think, and I know my guy at the Jazz gets all pissed off when I say this. They traded Donovan Mitchell to save money.
Yeah.
100%. They traded Donovan Mitchell to save money. They kept Jordan Clarkson with the promise they would move him at this deadline, which is what I think is going to happen. I don't believe that Ryan Smith is at this point in time willing to spend the money it will require to win a championship, which is, I think he realizes he would have to go and find, there's nobody in the NBA, and I know, again, Jazz fans lose their piss every time I say this, but Lauri Markkanen's not a number 1 or a number 2 on a championship team.
No.
And I am not a Jazz fan. I have the luxury of not being a Jazz fan. Trust me when I tell you, people around the NBA that I talk to about Lauri Markkanen think he is a really good third option on a championship team. Potentially now a second, but he'd have to be playing the Devin Booker to Kevin Durant role. And you'd have to have like unbelievable star talent next to him.
Yeah.
And that situation doesn't exist. He's going to wind up being that wing player. And I think if you look at the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Bojan Bogdanovic setup that we had in Salt Lake City, he's the Bojan Bogdanovic piece. He's not the flaw in that team was Rudy Gobert was your second option, which crippled this team. If Lauri Markkanen had been there, it wouldn't have changed things. And Jazz fans get into this all the time on Lauri. If Lauri had been there with Rudy and Bojan and Donovan, okay, that's different. You would never have had that roster because Lauri Markkanen and Bojan Bogdanovic are redundant players.
Yeah.
Is Markkanen better than Bogdanovic? Sure he is. Sure he is. But why would you do that? You're not a better team that way. And my point is, if you put Lauri Markkanen next to a ball-dominant superstar, what happens? He gets far less of the ball. So he's not going to put up those numbers. If you look at Lauri Markkanen, he's putting up the numbers he's putting up, which are superior to Cleveland and Chicago because he's the guy here.
Yep.
And now Colin Sexton is pushing him because Colin Sexton is on a run of better play than Lauri Markkanen. Is he a better player? He's not. But is he playing better basketball? He is. And they're on this road trip where they're currently, that's the other thing, like Pat McAfee, like absolutely just swallowing Ryan Smith to the base. Like, oh, the Jazz are hot. They've lost 3 in a row. Pat, are they really that hot? They're red hot. Are they? They've lost 3 in a row. And what did we tell you? They went on that great streak. They beat a lot of great teams. Now they're on a long road trip, which is the great equalizer in the NBA. This is a good team that is capable of winning every night. They're also capable of losing 5 of 8 and falling out of the playoffs because they're horribly flawed.
Yeah.
It's a horribly flawed team.
So that's what I say. How bad do you really want to win versus how bad do you want to make money?
Yeah. Oh, Eric Wasikowski, 100%. Ryan Smith is trying to be the Illich family. That's sad. Quebec deserves another chance before Mormon country. Wow, Mormon country. I don't know that Quebec deserves another opportunity. I think the city of Houston is the next NHL market in this country. I think it is a massively undertapped market that has a very good AHL presence. And I think it is.
That's what I mean. Why wouldn't you bring the A here first? Like, if you're so confident, why would the NHL, and I think you make the best point, because the NHL is looking at this from a national standpoint, and they're also taking into account the Olympics. Why would you, if you're the NHL, invest in a state, with all due respect, and I love Utah, love living in Salt Lake. Yeah. And I'm not even LDS. I love it here. Why would the NHL put an NHL team, an expansion team? We're not talking about moving the Yotes to Salt Lake. An expansion team here. Why would you do that when Vegas is there, when Denver's there, when Houston already has the AHL and it's nice?
If Ryan Smith is such a hockey nerd, why not buy the Utah Grizzlies, who are for sale, supposedly, with an owner who just passed away last year? Guy was a minor league magnet. Utah Grizzlies have their own arena. You're already in business with them on the Salt Lake Stars. Oh, that's right, because you're not really a hockey nerd. You want to make money. You're a professional sports nerd.
And you want a new building that you don't have to pay for.
That's exactly right.
So, you're not, this is what I mean. See, and this show, and I think it's so funny, this show got so much hate last year. when we crossed 10,000 subs, everyone's like, oh, you hate Ryan and you hate the Jazz. Do you guys even watch Jazz basketball? And now all of a sudden, we've grown and people are like, oh, yeah, maybe it is a money play. Maybe a billionaire tech guy, right? If I just said to you, if I said, hey, billionaire tech guy who owns an NBA team is trying to make some money and wants a free building, would that surprise anybody? Would anyone be surprised by that? No, you wouldn't, because we've seen that story before. So that's why I say the proof is in the pudding, Ryan. The proof is in the pudding. Go out and show us you're capable of putting together a winner in the Delta Center before we start talking about the NHL.
Would a summer football team work in Salt Lake City, Delaric says. I have no idea. No clue.
Well, and that's the other problem. See, have you not learned the NFL lesson? Why do you think the NFL is not in Salt Lake City? Yeah, there's a reason. There's two reasons, actually, in my opinion. Utah and BYU and that rivalry is more than enough to fill up this market. The NFL also doesn't work because of the LDS presence here, and nobody does anything in the state of Utah on Sunday, right? So if you think that somebody from, I don't know, Weber County is going to drive to Draper to watch an NHL game, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
you're out of your mind, bro.
Lopes Fan Gabe getting a jump on our Utah local morning show, huh, boys? Well, I think it's a fascinating story. And this is what happens when nobody holds billionaires accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Smith, it's the reason he's refused for 2 years to come on our show, because he doesn't want to answer questions that are like legitimate. He'll go on his own radio station.
Go on Pat McAfee.
Again, he'll go on Pat, who doesn't know anything about Utah sports. And again, Pat just took him to the base, dude. Like, congratulations, Pat. But nobody in Salt Lake City that I know, and I think I'm in the sports community pretty well. Like, I have a lot of people I know here, a lot of people that are sports fans. People are like, yeah, it'd be cool to have an NHL team here. Nobody is like, dude, we've got to get the NHL here. Nobody. And I think, like, hockey in Salt Lake City, the Utah Grizzlies are one of the most, what's the right way to say it? The potential that is in that organization is remarkable. You have really good management. I mean, they have a really good coach and general manager, and there's just some massive flaws in that building. Like, it's remarkable.
But that's why I say, if you're Ryan Smith, are you not, you didn't think, hey, like, there's already a building there, and that, in my opinion, that's a nice footprint.
And but he would have to be a hockey fan to do that.
Yeah.
And my premise is Ryan Smith is not some hockey nut who just has to have it. That's not who he is. He's a billionaire that wants to make more money. And he doesn't want to pay out of pocket for a new arena. He wants tax breaks, subsidies, Olympic money. He wants investor money, and that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, Giggity says to the base. Like, floss your front teeth, dude. Anyway. Boston Mapes, Ryan Smith, the Brittany Mahomes of NBA owners. I don't know about that. You know what the problem is? He is a guy. Ryan Smith has all the talent and acumen in the world. And it's too much, because he knows how to control the narrative being spoken about him and his franchise. Because, again, I ask you, outside of us, whoever talks critically of the Jazz, like, hey, wait, was that a good move? Is it like, whoever talks, Ryan? Hey, Ryan, where's the information or the market research you did that says the NHL is a must-have in Salt Lake City? Where is that? Like, it is nobody questioning?
Why am I not getting all these graphics and cool logos and all this on your Twitter?
Why are we not talking about the fact you eliminated the yellow uniform that people hated so goddamn much? Oh, because we don't talk about that. Or he might not talk to the Tribune or the Des News, or somebody who writes that in the Des News will get whacked for writing that in the Des News.
Oh, but you want to brand snowboards after the Jazz. Got it. Okay, yeah, cool.
Don't even get me started on that. Main event. They were on a roll until the unfortunate game was canceled. The Jazz, you mean? Well, I don't even. The Jazz with Rudy and Don were never a championship caliber team.
The Jazz are not going to win until they have better transition defense. It's that simple.
The Jazz are not going to win until they allow Danny Ainge to build a roster to win a championship.
Well, yeah.
And
the question of what is Danny Ainge doing is a really good one.
It's a really good one.
I can assure you it's not Danny Ainge being incompetent.
No, I don't think so. Boston Mapes, Ryan Smith will never be Larry H, and I don't think he wants to be. The problem is, will he ever be Gale? Because he's done nothing more than Gale Miller did. He has not improved the team on the floor. He is not. He is not.
And he's not shy about it. He said on the Pat McAfee show, yeah, we're a long way away. He said that. He said it quickly. He goes, yeah, we're a long way away, but we're doing great. Everything's awesome.
Will Hardy's amazing.
Right? Like, he says it, but he goes real quick then, hey, Will Hardy's amazing.
And he knows that Pat doesn't know basketball and won't follow up. He won't. Brandon Butler, the problem is the ownership of the Coyotes doesn't want to sell the franchise, so he has to swing for expansion. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I think they don't want to move. The NHL does not want the Coyotes to move out of Phoenix. It is an important marketplace for them. And again, it's dysfunction. Why did the Suns get sold? Well, because Robert Sarver at the end of the day was a terrible person. But now Matt Ishbia, who's a mortgage magnate, bought the Suns and immediately has been making business moves. And what's the quickest way to get shit done? Win on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz. Yeah, they've won back-to-back championships, man. That's a really good organization.
Yeah, he must be really good at what he does.
Yeah, no, it's not. Oh, they have a really good TV deal. No, they don't.
Man, Matt Ishbia got the best player by most people's accounts in the league right now, or one of the best players, to come to his organization when that guy could have gone to many different spots, and now they're contending for a championship. Man, really smart guy. And I know, hey, he's a mortgage guy, maybe not a basketball guru, but he's a really smart guy.
Did a really good TV deal.
Man, Phoenix is a great market. Like, you want Salt Lake to be a great market, win. Like, win something.
You want better free agents? Win,
man. Come on.
Take care of your players.
Yeah.
Anyway. Larry was Utah 100%. The way he built Jazz Delta Center was unheard of. New guy is in LHM. And again, I think it's an unfair comparison. Larry Miller lived and died every bounce of the basketball for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Smith wants to be LHM. I think Ryan, my genuine opinion is I do think Ryan cared a lot about when he bought the team. He cared a lot about making sure that he did a good job shepherding the franchise from them to himself, right?
I would agree.
Like, hey, we really care, about legacy and like what they did, and we want to champion that message.
Yeah.
And then now it's been, hey, like, we've given it some time, right? We gave it about half a season last year. And then, hey, now it's time for yellow uniforms and rollouts and change all the graphics and all these new in-game hosts that are terrible. And
that's the other thing. Going to a Jazz game is not that great of an in-arena experience.
Like, come on, man. Like, I guess it's frustrating because I look at the Jazz and that's a product that could be a phenomenal, really good playoff contender right now.
Yeah. Mark Hales, how are you, my guy? I don't think that hockey or MLB will work in Salt Lake. I think baseball's got a better chance. But again, I think regional saturation's a problem. And if you're the Oakland, Las Vegas A's, do you really want another franchise in Salt Lake City? If you're Denver, do you really want your guys in Salt Lake City who watch Rockies games? Because that goes away. Are you... look at the TV deal the Las Vegas Golden Knights just did.
Yeah. With
Scripps Sports that covers Boise and Salt Lake City and the entire state of Utah. And I can tell you St. George loves the Golden Knights. Like it's awkward. OG Gary, Ryan Smith will get NHL and MLB to Utah, and then we'll work on getting NFL. NFL will not come here.
No.
The owners make too much money regionality and controlling footprints, and the NFL will never come here.
And the Broncos as a brand are a juggernaut, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah. Mark Hales, Pat just likes his Mormon guests. Maybe.
But it's not, dude, with all due respect, I'm not trying to hate on you, Mark. It's not about him being Mormon, man. That's not what it's about. It's about the fact that, in my opinion, Ryan likes to be a front runner, dude. He likes to be seen with the big names. Just look in the last week, dude. Pat McAfee, Rob Manfred, dude. He's got Qualtrics on dude's bag on the PGA Tour. Like Finau's bag on the PGA Tour. Like he's all over the place, and
he
that's
likes
great,
to hang out with fame. Why? Dwayne Wade.
Yeah,
he likes to hang out with cool, hip people.
But that might be one of the best examples. What did we get sold on Dwayne Wade? What was Dwayne Wade's thing here? Oh, well, he's going to be an advisor, and he's going to help Danny, and he's going to help Ryan,
and he's going to bring in free agents,
and he's going to help Jay-Z. Where's that? Because I don't see that helping.
The rapper, oh my God, his name just went right out of my head. Ryan Smith and the rapper at the All-Star game, the concert.
Oh, Travis Scott.
Travis Scott. Like doing like all that stuff, dude. All that stuff.
Like you were willing to sit down with Travis Scott. Like what?
Wanted to, not willing. Wanted to. He likes being Ryan Smith likes hanging out with famous people. And look, I like Ryan Smith. I wish that he was more accountable. I wish that the media here did not fear him.
And you know what the other thing too is, like, it used to be like, oh, well, we're just not going to go on their show because it's too small. Like now we're the biggest show in Utah, and we're a national show now too. Like, so there's really no excuse of, oh, we're not going to go on their show. Like the numbers disagree with you in your opinion on what we do. And so it's like, hey, if you're going to own the media in your market, like it is what it is.
Get it.
Nothing's going to change.
Let's see. Fight on Natties. Pat McAfee is hot trash. I like Pat. I watch his show every day. Jake hates it. And we wind up flipping between Jim Rome and Pat McAfee.
Yeah, I just get burned out on the bro factor with Pat McAfee. And I get burned out on how
tough.
Uneducated he is on sports.
It's tough.
Like,
Joseph Harper, Bakersfield has an AHL team. They do, and a good one. But we'll never get a professional team, mainly because we're too close to LA. I would agree with that. Edward Wayner. I lived in Houston over 20 years. Houston has many northern transplants and Canadians, many from Alberta because of oil and gas. Yes, sir. So hockey would do well there. Plus, Houston is number 8 DMA in the U.S. and growing.
Yeah. Yes.
Dakota Tubbs, McAfee. Like McAfee?
Dakota.
Macaque.
Thank you. Come on, you have to play it.
Macaque.
Smith should learn from the Ilitch family because he actually gave back to the city of Detroit. What about Smith? Ryan Smith is a wonderful philanthropic guy, and his family does a lot for our community. He just is not transparent.
But that doesn't look. That's great. I love that you give back to the community. I love that you have these initiatives. That doesn't mean you get to hide behind your actual intention. That's what bothers me. You're not genuine. Your actions say different than what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that bothers me.
I agree. Wow, look at that. Roger Sales is in. Roger Dodger.
Dude,
good to
what's
see
up,
you,
buddy?
dude. Congratulations on your success. I'm happy to say I knew when you were starting out. Birthday at hockey games and soccer games too. Congratulations. Yes, sir. February 5th, we'll be doing mornings. So make sure you come back. Mark 324, I'd be more likely to find a redheaded child in St. George than the NHL team moving into Salt Lake City. Maybe.
And then the other thing I'm curious about too is what happens. Let's just say it doesn't work out and the NHL doesn't come to Salt Lake. Then what? People going to ask what happened, Ryan? No. We're just going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Mike Smith, the Jazz are not going to win until Ryan Smith comes on the Monty show. It's bad karma. It is bad karma. I agree. Capazzo, Ryan Smith is a Delta Bravo as the owner of the Jazz. He's going to run the team into the ground and then move them out of state. Yeah, I don't think so. He's a Utah guy. I don't see that happening. And a lot of people, Capazzo, agree with you. I hear that all the time. I don't think that happens. What I think happens is Ryan Smith, I think it's probably a good business deal for him. He likely makes money and tax shelters, and he runs money through that team as he should. And my guess is that he'll do what the Ricketts did without winning a championship in Chicago. The Cubs won a championship. They stopped spending any money. Why is Cody Bellinger still a free agent? Oh, that's right. The Cubs don't spend money. They don't spend money. Ryan Smith, in my opinion, will spend enough money to like feign competitiveness. And hey, if the Jazz happen to win, dude, I told you we're in it to win it. That's what he's going to say. We're in it to win it. I am committed. And then when they're 20 games out of a playoff spot, look, man, it didn't go the way we thought it would go, but we're never going to give up because we're in it to win it. That's what he's going to say. It is what it is. Johnny Gonzalez, Ryan Smith is the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. To a certain extent, he is. To a certain extent, he is. Jeff, baseball not good in high altitude. I'm a Rockies fan. Trust me.
Oh, I think Rockies baseball is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but not if you're a pitcher for the Rockies. It's not.
Yeah.
Right?